Hey guys, good morning. It is Friday, July 21st. Welcome to FYR Fridays. I'm so excited to have you hanging out with us today. And I'm even more excited for our special guest today. I've got my good friend and someone who I've got a lot of respect for, and I've had a chance to hear his story and then see up front in person what he's been able to do in his business over the years. And so I'm so excited to have Levi McDonald hanging out with us today. So Levi, welcome, my friend. Thank you for taking the time to be here with us. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So,
Yep.
we're gonna fire some things off. I'll throw a couple of concepts and questions at you, and you can tackle them any way you want. This time is yours because we want to learn from you. And then we'll open it up at the end if we've got time for some Q&A and people can can ask you some questions if that works.
Okay. Let's do it.
Awesome. Awesome. Good deal. So we're talking agent attraction. At EXP, we've got this incredible opportunity where we can share the gift of EXP with other agents. And then we pour into them, we help them succeed, we bring them into a great environment to succeed. And the company rewards us for doing that by sharing in the company's income, right? Revenue share. It's an incredible gift. It's something that agents shouldn't leave on the table. So was that something that was of interest to you when you came here?
Yeah. So, to be honest, initially it was not. Initially, when I came here, it was not really of interest to me. It reminded me of the Keller Williams profit sharing model, and I was never really interested in that. But what did interest me was the stock and the fact that I could maybe have a little something left over after selling that house and getting that commission check. But and that brings me to my first point. Um, I ended up going to a mastermind in Key West, Florida. And when I was in that mastermind, fortunately, Brent Gold was there. Fortunately, Gene was there as well. Jay Kinder, Michael Reese, a lot of those guys. And they really talked about how revenue share could not just grow, but compound. And I saw that vision and I tapped into it. I got excited and I came back and I just started sharing. So then that's when it became a part of my day to day business,
Love it.
agent attraction.
Yeah, and I think we found that and I know you brought in a lot of people, and you've got an organization over 1,000 agents in a short period of time. I've always found, and you've probably found the same thing, that it's not there's a few people where that's really the main attraction for them, but most people don't get it until they're here and they experience things and they see the platform, right? Are you finding the same thing?
Yeah, I'm finding the same thing. It doesn't really and it doesn't really happen that quickly either. You just got to be very consistent. Um, I follow John Sheplak, who's affiliated with us as well. And one of the things that he says, how does he say it? He says, crappy, consistent action will outperform perfect, inconsistent action every single day.
I love that.
Right. So that's one of my favorite quotes. But anyway, yeah, you just come in and you just make it a part of your daily process. So I go to these events, I get excited. I came back and I was throwing the model up on everybody, talking about EXP, talking about stock, talking about rev share, doing it all wrong, getting my no's, but also getting some yeses. And I actually had a gentleman call me one day who turned out to be um, the best recruit that I made, Andre LaFountain. And I know Andre from a previous brokerage that we were at. His wife was actually the broker of that company. She worked for the owner, and he was just kind of affiliated, and I knew him by that through that way. And Andre was actually looking to be a listing agent or an ISA. So I remembered that from that event, they just said, just set the appointment, and don't try to explain the model. So I showed him how excited I was about what I wanted to show him and tell him, but I really didn't dig in as much like I had before, which was the thing that was running everybody off. And once I sat him down and I showed it to him, I brought in one of my partners. So I brought in someone from my upline. All three of us sat down and we talked about it. And even that person that I brought in, who was Dan Hillsman, even Dan didn't answer all the questions. We sat there, we showed it to him briefly, and then when Andre had additional questions, we brought in somebody else. So sometimes it's a process, but anyway, he came on. He wasn't even licensed yet. He had to go back and get his license. He was licensed previously in New York, but he hadn't sold homes in years. But I have 1,050 people in my group. Andre has 1,000 people in his group. So when he came on, he focused on agent attraction. That was his focus. That's what he does. And he doesn't have 100 people on his front line. He has a good 30 people, 40 people, just like all of us. But it only takes one person, right? It only takes one person. So he attracted that one, and then those people that he brought on that one, and it just grew like that. So that's really how this magical story came together.
That is so cool. That is so cool. And I've been trying to, as I've watched, right? I've had a chance to work with all the top influencers, since I've been here, and looking at, kind of turning it around and saying, what's working? How are they getting where they are? And I love, you say it only takes one.
That's it.
That's something that and I think that that's true, whether you're talking about your sales business, right? If you have one incredible client who's really well connected, right? They will use you, they will refer you, they will, they will connect you with other people. They'll put you in situations where you can get business, and all that kind of stuff. They'll help you, explode your business, by having just that one. You can, like, a lot of people can go back and point to, when I work with that one person,
yes,
that's the person that, that really helped things. That was the pivot point. If you read The Tipping Point, right? Malcolm Gladwell, and talks about the different people you need in there. So for you, having Andre in there, and what's cool about that is Andre he had been licensed, but he wasn't licensed at the time. He wasn't a top producing agent, but he had skills. He didn't mind picking up the phone, right? So
right.
So when we're looking for people always say, well, who should I be bringing in? So when you go out there and talk to people, how do you kind of pick and choose who you want to talk to, who's on your target list?
Now I've gotten a lot better. I've gotten a lot better because now I'm more of a person when I talk to other people, if that makes sense. People are gonna make decisions based on pain and opportunity. We have to realize that most of us that are in this industry, whether we're doing well or not, when we are actually selling houses, we feel that we're doing what we need to do. So when things are working, although we call ourselves entrepreneurs, we really don't look for opportunity when things are working, right? But the moment something starts to get a little shaky, then that's when that pain point slides in. And then that's when we start to look for opportunity, when we get a little uneasy. So what I started doing was really just building relationships with the agents that I do transactions with, building relationships with the agents that I know, and learning to master the invite. Mastering the invite not to hear about EXP, but mastering the invite to invite them to something that we are doing as a group, whether it's small or large, to help them with their real estate business. So for an example, how to make more money per transaction in this market. That's something that's been working really, really hot for us lately. And that's a training that we do on making more money in the transaction when it comes to charging your buyers a commission and getting the sellers to pay for it through closing costs.
Are you teaching that live, or are you doing that on Zoom? How are you doing that?
Both.
Okay.
So we actually have one that we're doing live coming up here in August. I don't have a date for it yet, but we do those on Zoom as well. So that's one thing that we do. Another thing that we do is that we do role play calls and objection handling calls. Those are via Zoom. We do those 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings. And we just invite. We just invite. And that's the best way to build a relationship with someone, Because if they see that you're successful doing what they're doing, then it's easier to have a conversation, because then you can say, hey, we were able to make X amount of dollars last year on these commissions. And we've also been able to leverage this platform to do X, Y, Z, whether it be $100,000 in stock, whether it be an additional $500 a month in passive income, or if you want to go big, an additional $20,000 a month in passive income. I can show you how to do that as well. That's separate, but we can talk about that on the side. You know,
Yeah.
um, I have a lot of lunches. I mean, my American Express card, boy, I do a lot of lunches. And sometimes when I have lunch with agents, I don't even bring up EXP. It's really just, it's a slow and steady game for me. Um, but it's really just getting to know people. It's really just cracking that door, because Gene, Gene says this too. If their gate is closed, then you can't get to them. But you gotta be able to allow somebody to, just like our clients. Our clients have to know us, like us, and trust us. These agents have to know us, like us, so they can trust us a little bit, so that they can crack that gate open just a little bit and just be a little bit nicer to you. Because think about it, everybody that, even us, like, I'm sure you all's phones ring 12 times a day with somebody either trying to recruit you, or somebody trying to sell you a lead generation product, or or something.
Yep.
So when we're coming at these agents, we got to be different. Like, it's the same way with our clients. You got to be different with your offer. You have to appeal to them, so that they'll be open to one day receiving the information that you want to give to them.
Yeah, it's really good advice, right? I mean, everybody feels like a piece of meat. It's, everybody's pouncing on you. You're a way for them to make money. And
Yeah.
right. And so if you approach them as a way for you to make money, they're close
Mm-hmm.
to it, right? There's like, they got
Mm-hmm.
1,000 of those coming, and they're Teflon, man. It's like ding, bounces
Absolutely.
right off. So
Yep.
yeah, so you got to
It's
get them to say, hey, this person's not just trying to make money off of me. This person they care about me.
especially when we know that that's the narrative.
Mm.
Like, we know that that's what people think about our company. We know that people think that EXP agents don't sell houses, although the numbers show something very different. They don't care, because it's not about what's on paper all the time. It's about what they've experienced.
Yeah,
And what they've experienced is not even what they've experienced. What they've experienced is what they've heard somebody else say.
that's right. That's right.
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 So just kind of knowing where your avatar is, knowing what their mindset is, and then doing whatever you can do to come at them a little bit differently.
I love that. So how do you invite somebody to lunch? What's your typical approach? I mean, these people, you don't know. What's your path on that?
Yeah, so I mean, I slide in the inbox quick, you know. Hey, what's going on? Congratulations on your closing. If it's somebody I haven't seen in a while, then I'll say, hey, let's catch up. Let's go to lunch one day. How you been? How's your business going? Just it's really easy. You just have to do it. It's Most people are okay with having lunch.
Yeah.
Um, Most people now, if I was a mortgage lender, maybe these agents wouldn't want to sit down and have lunch with me, right?
They know
Because
you're
that's what
buying
they
though.
do. Yeah, that's what they do. So it goes back to knowing your avatar. Knowing your avatar. Hey, let's sit down, let's trade some things. You're doing a great job. I want to know what's working for you. Um, I'm looking at putting some changes into my business. Agents love to be pumped up. They really do. So that conversation is a lot easier if you know the person. You may not have to kiss up to them as much, but if you don't know them, you definitely want to put them on a pedestal very, very high. You want to do that anyway, but especially if you don't know them, you want to pump them up a little bit more to get them to say yes to your opportunity. I mean, to your offer to come sit down with them.
Yeah. Yep. That's really good advice. Yeah. I've found that same thing, and flattery goes a long way. And if you can find anything out about them, it's kind of like you see someone, you go, man, I love that dress, or I love that shirt, or I love your shoes, or, the compliments kind of open the door and they go, oh, thank you for noticing. And all of a sudden that, the wall comes down a little bit. So if you can, my dog's over here growling, so I told you. But if you can do anything to look at their business, look them up online, look them up on social media, do whatever, and then be like, hey, I saw that listing you had on 123 Maple Street. Looks like a great house. How's that going? Or, I saw your marketing. I think that's really cool. Or your logo. How'd you come up with that? That's a great logo. Something that shows, oh wow, like they're not like I'm not just on a list of people and a number to them. They actually know who I am. They're actually looking at my business, and then they dial back for a second, because this, when they think that you're just EXP agents just want to recruit everybody and they don't care, they just want to make money off of me. But if you go, wow, okay, you've actually looked at my business, you actually know who I am, that kind of stuff is
absolutely. And another quick tip is I always take appointments with recruiters. Always. I never hang up the phone with them. Now, some of them, if they're a little bit too salesy, or if I can tell that they're new, the question that I will ask them is, are you a licensed agent? Have you ever been licensed yourself? Another qualifying question that I'll ask them is, if they're not licensed, I'll ask them, how long have they been recruiting? If it's maybe a year or two, I want to know how many people that they've recruited to their office. So what I'll say is, okay, it sounds like you guys got some good things going on over there. How many people are joining you on a regular basis? Like, what would you see on a monthly basis? How many people are y'all bringing in, right? And why do you think that is? Because I want to know that person that I'm talking to a little bit more to see if it's going to be worth my time. I've taken some meetings and I've sat there and I've wished that I would have never went and sat in the meeting, because I'm realizing that I'm actually just talking to somebody who's 9 to 5. They don't know nothing about real estate and they just are new to recruiting themselves. And I'm never even going to be able to meet the broker of the company, because the broker or whoever that person is not even there. So I've wasted my time as well. But at the same time, I'm talking to a young lady now who has been the recruiter, office manager / whatever. Her title was switched so much, and she's been with this broker for over 20 years. She also has relationships with other people that are in the industry, and this is one of the largest brokerages in our state with several offices. She's very interested. So always talk to those recruiters a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Because you can also, I also have learned some lingo from them as well. So that's a good point. Don't just hang up on them that fast.
Man, all right. So Levi, that you actually just kind of gave a new concept to me, so which is cool. So I love the idea, and I know I see Kyle on here. I know Kyle is also someone who does that. He's gone on, I think he's interviewed with every company in 3 states.
That's my guy, Kyle. That's my guy. What's up, Kyle?
It's good to see you, man. I'm glad I'm here.
Good to see you too, bro. Yep, I just saw Kyle the other week in San Antonio.
Yeah.
So, and I know you may have been going somewhere else, Dave, but I just want to throw this out there real quick. EXP is a 2-step process. Number 1 is getting to the company, getting used to doing business, learning the systems, taking advantage of the stock, yada, yada, yada. But you gotta stay in it. Gotta stay doing things like FYR Friday, and you gotta get on a plane and go to an event. I don't know what it is about. Maybe they pumping something in the air in these conference rooms, but once you get to an event, then that's when you really understand the opportunity. And that's when something happens inside of you and you go back and you take action. And we go and we see the same faces at these events all the time. And there's no coincidence why the people that are there are successful, because they continue to plug themselves into the environment.
Yeah.
You cannot do it just behind a Zoom camera. Like, you got to do this stuff in the middle, but you got to physically get to these events. I know the tickets are high. I know the hotel is expensive, but you can work around that. And also, now I don't like to go to any event alone. Initially, I was going to them alone. I was going to them with my group. But now it's like, okay, if I go somewhere, I at least need to have 1 or 2 people with me, even if I have to pay for them to go. Because I am 99%. That's my record. 99. Only one person that I have brought to an event has not joined. That person was a very large broker. Is really really complicated for brokerages to move. That was before we had the boost program, right?
Mhm.
That was like 2 years ago. Um, I even brought somebody to Bill 2 years ago. They joined under somebody else that they met at Bill. So they at least so it works,
That's
right?
all.
And you got to have the right. I was upset about that at first, but you got to have the right attitude about it. So I could have walked away and been like, man, that's messed up. This person's dead to me. I called him and I congratulated him. I paid for his ticket. I paid half for his room. He had his reasons. It's not up to me to focus on that. But I'm looking at the bright side of it, and the bright side of it is that getting people to these events work.
Yeah.
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, that's great. That is great. And it's really big. And I know, I remember running into you at the last build event, I think it was, right? And you had a huge group. You had a huge group because I popped in, you guys were having lunch. We got to hang out for a little bit. And you had brought a whole bunch of people in there. You had your group and you had a bunch of guests there, and your group had brought guests. And it's big. We unfortunately missed Bill. We had our anniversary this year. They changed the dates on us, not our anniversary, but the build dates. And so we're going EXPCon. So we've got a bunch of people going. This is definitely something right now. They've got the Explorer Pass, right? So when you buy your ticket, you can offer a free ticket to a guest. So a licensed agent who is not with EXP, you can get them into EXPCon for free. You automatically, with every ticket that you buy, you get a free ticket to invite a guest. So a licensed agent who's not with EXP, bring them with them. They got to do, hotel or whatever. You can share a hotel room. So then you're talking airfare. So great opportunity to bring people to these events and get down there. But there's definitely magic in the event. The event does the heavy lifting and telling the story. And I think John Sheplack would always say, right, he would say, don't tell them what it would be like to be with you. Show them what it would be like if they were with you. And when they come to these events, they feel it and they sense it. And that's a big deal.
Dave, can I piggyback on this?
Do it.
I will say this from a new agent, right? People make big decisions at big events, and one of the reasons why, right? What Levi said, the second reason, right, is getting plugged in, is hearing Levi's story, hearing the testimonies, the stories of people, and seeing their growth of where they got started and just got licensed, their struggle and their victory creates a level of stickiness, right? And then developing that relationship with Levi afterwards and talking with him and getting to know him and realizing that he's just like me. There's no difference, right? He's just walked the road a little bit further. And so that gives an amazing hope and faith to be able to walk through that. And so, Levi, let me ask you this, would you have as big of a business as you have today if you didn't go to events?
Absolutely not. The only reason that my business is the way that it is today is because of events. If I did not go if I did not go to that mastermind in Key West, which was not a production type of mastermind, right? They were not talking about selling houses. They were talking about it, but it wasn't based on that. If I did not go to that mastermind, none of this would be happening right now. And that was the second event that I went to, the second EXP type of event. It is very important.
Did you have the finances to go to some of those events?
I did not. I put it on my charge card. And you just made me remember something. And thank you for saying that, because not only when I went to that Key West event, not only did I not have the money to do so, I did it very last minute, so it was way more expensive than it normally would be. I was also going through something personal in my life in regards to um, some legal stuff. I was getting custody of my oldest son, so I didn't have it. I also had just transitioned from my other company to EXP. So I'm one of those people who I waited, trying to close out all my transactions because I don't want to mess nothing up over there. Plus they're giving me these false threats, and not really realizing that I'm delaying closings on the other side. So it was a patch where things were very, very slow. And to be honest with you, Kyle, like when I went, I had never been to Key West, first and foremost. So when I went, that was kind of a time for me to just kind of just go see a beautiful place, you know. But I didn't realize how life changing that would be. So y'all got to do these things, man. Do these things. Get around these people. Um, Sit at the bar with them. Go to the hotel. Go to the suites. Have conversations, and hear them talking about their $60,000 checks, their $100,000 checks, what they're able to do with for their families, what they just bought, what investments they just made. It's power in being in proximity. It really is, and I can't explain it. I can't even explain to you all what I do. Like I'm not a process person. Um, I have Trello, but I don't use it like I should. Um, I'm just led. God just has His hands on me. He just puts me in the right places. I have the right conversations, and I don't really get negative about bad things that happen. I use those things as motivation. I try to find the good thing out of everything and just continue to move forward.
Man,
It's simple. We
follow his path, man.
overcomplicate agent attraction. It's very simple. Just be a real person and be consistent. It'll happen.
Levi, we got one question as we wrap up because we're right at the top here. Kathy's asking, what would you say is the key to making an event work for you in terms of generating business? So when you go to an event, what do you look for? I'm going to rephrase a little bit, but when you're going to an event, how do you obviously just being there, you're going to absorb stuff, you're going to learn things, you're going to build relationships and everything else. But how do you be purposeful when you go to an event so you get some outcome out of it?
I say try to get as most content as you can, and let people know that you're there, and take your notes. And I'm guilty of this as well. You have a lot of notes, and you take the notes, and you come back and you don't even look at the notepad until it's time to go to the next event.
Yep.
Because it ends up in your briefcase. But really sit down, and pull out 2 to 3, maybe 5 to 10 different pieces different things on that notepad that you wrote, and try to implement a few of them. But one of the lunches that I went to this week was simply because somebody saw me at Bill taking a selfie with somebody else, and they said, "Man, I got to get out and do more networking. I got to get out and do more. Hit me up when you get back." And then we set a lunch appointment. So just when you go to these events, be purposeful about what's going on, and then copy whatever you can copy. Most of the people that are doing things at these events are doing them on a very, very large scale. But it's nothing for us to come back home and do a small lunch and learn. If you can get 3 to 5 people in the room, that's good.
Yep.
Whatever somebody else is doing, do the same thing to the magnitude that you can do it, and then it gets better. I went to a lunch and learn yesterday, and it was one of our agents' first lunch and learns. She had 2 agents in there. It was 2 agents. It was me. It was a lender, and it was a guy who runs a company that's very similar to Curbio. But that was it. But the thing about it is, whatever you do, just be consistent with it so that it will build momentum.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay to start small. Just be consistent, right?
That's it.
Yep. Well, we're at the end of our time, Levi, and you guys can all see why, I asked Levi to be here. Levi, I could listen to you talk all day. And I love your mindset. I love your path and the stuff that you've done. And I'm also going to link out to our group. I think we still have all the videos from when you spoke at Cabo, spoke at Build, everything. I love your story. I love the story about the bathroom, by the way. Still,
That's all I was hearing about last week at Bill.
That's what Kristen and I still laugh about that. But yeah, it's been fun to watch you succeed and really kill it. It's been fun to watch you build a great group and to do it the right way with such a good heartbeat. I appreciate getting to know you and having you as a friend. So thank you for being here with us. Thank you for hanging out. And guys, you find, Levi in workplace, he's out there, you have other questions and that kind of stuff. And maybe Levi will come back and talk to us another time too. But man, I really do appreciate you being here. It's a lot of fun. I hope you have an awesome weekend.
Thank you. Thank you all. I'm here for the interview. I'm a great three-way guy. I do better with that than my own front end attraction. So if you all ever need me, give me a call and I'll be happy to help.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, Levi. I appreciate that, guys. If you heard that, it froze up for 1 second. I think it's on my my Wi-Fi end over here, but third party, like Levi said, when he's talking with people, even with him, sometimes there's multi-layers and you talk to many people to get them to the path where they've heard, heard the right voice and heard it said in the right way. They say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So that's great. All right, guys. Well, happy Friday to you. Hope you have a phenomenal weekend. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you guys. Let's get out there and do great things.
Thanks, Levi.
Thank you, Levi.
Thanks.
Thank you. Good
Thank
seeing
you,
you all.
Levi. Good to see everyone.
Thanks, guys. Thanks again, Levi.